There's a difference between fitting in and belonging. Now imagine being told you don't belong because of something that you can't change. It's a feeling that many of us are all too familiar with, but for the marginalized or the non-dominant groups, it's a reality they face every single day. Today, we're talking about converting, passing, and covering. 3 survival strategies people use to navigate a world that often demands conformity. First, let's talk about converting. This is when someone recognizes that they don't meet the criteria of the dominant group, whether it's race, gender, religion, or even class, and feels the desire to convert to become more like them in order to fit in. This isn't just about changing their beliefs, it's about changing who you are at your core to be accepted by those who are perceived to be in power. For instance, imagine a person who grew up in a lower income household, but as they move into higher social circles, they begin to feel like they don't quite measure up to the norms of wealth and success. They may start changing the way that they talk, what they wear, or even the way that they view themselves, essentially converting to fit a more affluent identity. The hope is that by adopting these traits, they'll be accepted into a group that holds more privilege and power. It's not just about self-improvement, it's about survival in a system that rewards certain identities over others. But what happens when conversion isn't an option? When someone fully can't change their identity to match the dominant group's criteria? This is where passing comes in. Passing is when individuals try to blend in and make others believe that they belong to the dominant group, even if they don't. A classic example of this is how light-skinned black people would sometimes pass for white during times of segregation in the United States. To escape discrimination, they would hide their black identity, sometimes changing their name or distancing themselves from their culture to avoid oppression they would face otherwise. In essence, they were passing to gain the privileges of being white in a deeply segregated society. But passing isn't always possible. Sometimes your identity is something that you just can't hide, no matter how hard you try. So when converting and passing are not options, people often resort to covering. Covering is when you downplay or hide aspects of yourself in order to fit in, but without fully pretending to be someone else. It's more subtle than passing. It's about masking what's seen as a disadvantage rather than erasing it completely. Take, for example, the high school jock who isn't known for his intelligence. I feel like we all know that guy. Instead of trying to be the smartest guy in the room, he focuses all of his energy on developing physical strength, bulking up, and becoming a dominant presence on the field. He's covering his academic shortcomings by leaning into a different kind of strength, hoping that no one will notice or care about his intellectual limits. Similarly, think about women in a male-dominated space like the military or law enforcement. Some might adopt rougher, more crass demeanors using foul language or tough behavior as a way to cover the fact that they may be perceived as weaker or softer than their male counterparts. It's a strategy to blend in and avoid being labeled as an outsider. Again, this isn't about changing who they are, it's about minimizing what makes them different in order to gain acceptance. What's so fascinating about converting, passing, and covering is that these strategies are all forms of social survival. For many non-dominant groups, the desire to be seen, accepted, or simply avoid discrimination is so powerful that these strategies become necessary tools for navigating in an often unforgiving world. So the next time you hear someone talk about fitting in or being yourself, remember that for some people, these aren't just choices, they're acts of adaptation. Whether it's trying to convert, pass, or cover, these strategies reveal just how complex and layered our identities actually can be. Thanks for tuning in to today's Side Salad. I hope this one gave you some new perspective on the ways that we navigate social dynamics and identity. Stay tuned for the next bite-sized episode, and remember, sometimes what we hide is just as important as what we show. As always, be sure to normalize authenticity and choose curiosity over certainty. It would mean the world to me if you like, comment, share, and follow. And even if you don't, I hope this content sparked a great conversation for you. Have a good one.